Morning, everybody. 8:10 a.m. July 31st, the last day of the month. FOMC. Crazy, crazy, nuts, insane markets. This is just crazy. So, yesterday, big sell-off. Went farther than I thought it would have went. And now we're back up. Thanks to AMD. Okay. AMD reinvigorated the AI revolution. And wow. I mean, Nvidia's up almost, it's up almost 6.5%, almost back to 111. It's nuts. It went down to 100, and after hours, AMD's up 7%. Semis are up 4.6%. The sector, the sector's up 4.6%. Craziness. Okay, insanity. Now I got a little bit of a late start today, so some of the news we're gonna look at together, fresh. All right. Usually I review everything, so I'm up to date. But I already know about AMD, Microsoft. Um, we had some earnings come out this morning. Boeing. All right. So let's get into this. Right. Let's get into this. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile and market profile to find structure in these markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. All helps me find my edge. That is my edge. That is my roadmap. That is the way I like data to be configured on my charts. Okay? Everybody has their own way. This is my way. All right. And what I do here is I try to bring that to you guys because I really think it's powerful. Okay. Really, really powerful. And I don't have to do a lot on my charts. Right. And just things make it easier on my eyes. I can see a lot of this stuff without volume profile now, but it doesn't matter. It's the volume profile is just easier on my eyes. It's just easier. I'd rather take the easier path. Okay. Make trading as simple as possible. Okay, now of course, once the market opens, that's a different story, right? How this market opens, nobody knows. Okay, nobody knows. All right, so every day I do this at 8:10 a.m. All right, have a cup of coffee with me. We go over everything that happened yesterday, everything that happened after hours, in the morning, what news is coming out, right? We do the leaders and the laggards. Then we go into daily charts. Then we go into the main event, 8:30. That's the ES futures, the NASDAQ futures. That's where I do my analysis. That's where I come up with my game plans for the short and the long plays, trade scenarios. Okay? And then sometimes I give you some bonus content. Some bonus content. Okay? Today I might do that. Maybe. Okay? Today might be a little bit of extra news because I haven't got a chance to look at that, but it's not going to take long. But so that's it. So everybody, if you're new, welcome. Subscribe and set an alert if you haven't already. All right, that would mean a lot to me. Trying to build this channel, you know what I'm saying? All right, and if you do like what you see, please give me a like, thumbs up, smash it. If you want to wait to the end, that's fine. You can always follow me on X at Gonzo719. All right, I think we can get right into the futures watch list. What do you think? Let's do it. Is Rosita here? Who knows? She's a busy girl. Is G-Man here? I don't know. I don't know. Muhammad, maybe. Who knows? Who's watching? It really doesn't matter. I do this no matter what. It's part of my process. So let's get into this. There's my girl. All right. It's all about the mindset. Here we go. I know you're laughing. All right. So, geopolitical risk. There's a leader of Hamas was killed in Iran or Iran, whatever you want to call it. Crude is getting love. I was looking at crude. I've been eyeing along in crude. This is just a catalyst that it needed. Okay. It's up 3.48%. NASDAQ up 1.68%. My God. Ether's up 1.56. Silver's up 1.14. ES up 1%. Russell's up 0.5. Gold's up 0.45, whatever, it's floating around. Bitcoin's up 0.35, the Dow's up 0.14, 30-year bonds up well, kind of flat 30-year bonds. 10-year yield should be flat. Today's big FOMC, I expect not much movement in the bond market. What's what you're getting, okay? Dollar's down 0.44. I did see Bank of Japan had some serious intervention, okay? So I'd have to see if the yen is up and the euro's up, most likely. Okay, so dollar down. Okay, dollar down is good for commodities, good for equities. The VIX is down 5.94%, down to 16.6. Okay, we just pushed up above yesterday's highs right now in the ES. That is insane. We're gapping up as I'm speaking to you. We just gapped up. What level are we at? 55.30. If we go above that level before FOMC, my God, this is insane. 55.30, a high volume node, composite high volume node that I've been talking about ad nauseum. It's there right now. It's above yesterday's highs. Insanity. God, this market is so insane. All right. We'll get into all that. Okay, we'll get into all that. So, where would I leave off? I'm just getting excited here. Ready. Let's go over to our Mag 7 Plus and just see. Jeez. Let's see it. AMD reported earnings, their data centers. Woo. Up 7.4%. My lord. Was up higher earlier. Look at that Nvidia pushing up to 7% up. Broadcom up 6.47%. Coinbase up 2.33%. Boeing had just had earnings. They beat, up 1.69%. GE's up 1.44%. Tesla's up 1.22%. My lord. Google up 0.7%. Netflix up 0.53%. So they're not up as big. Snowflake down 0.45%. And Microsoft, they didn't, what was it? The cloud. I believe they expected 31% year over year or something like that, and they got 30 or something like 30, and they got 29. It was like a very small miss with that. That sent the stock down to 390. 390. I was telling Rosita, I almost nibbled at it. I almost nibbled at it. Okay. And that stock is only down 2.46% right now. Okay. So that's what's going on there. All right. Now, let's look at our top sector stocks. All right. And there's nobody surprised here. Qualcomm, the semi, is up 3.39%. Uber up 1.44. Chevron getting the love from crude up 1.21. So is Exxon. Visa's up 0.91. Eli Lilly up 0.73. Cat up 0.66. All right, that's really it. We got a bit of the laggards here. Well, that's no surprise. If tech's going to get a big boom, Staples with PepsiCo, Procter and Gamble, they're not getting killed. Johnson and Johnson, healthcare, little recession-proof stocks, but Morgan Stanley's down. Now McDonald's had an earnings miss, but they've been rocketing. Salesforce down 0.46, and United Healthcare is down 1.45. I'm trying to figure that out. I know Humana beat earnings, but I don't know what they said in guidance. So we might find that out in the news. Okay, because Humana beat earnings, but maybe the guidance or something in their something information about them was negative for healthcare. Even though healthcare sector is not down, but I noticed my CVS is down and United Healthcare is down, and Johnson and Johnson is only down slightly. Now Johnson and Johnson is not health insurance, so it's not as down as much. So we have to look into that. Now let's talk about our swing trade list. All right, this is more granular of the market. Who's leading? I like that a lot. I told my girl Rosita, that I nibbled on that last Friday. That is up 6.85%. Why is that? Well, they had some, what was that called? They're setting up data centers, but they also do cooling equipment for what? Servers and stuff like that. So that's why I nibbled on that. Okay, so in order to have your server built, you need something to cool it. And there's something else they just came out with. I just read about this morning. That's kind of like revolutionary, and it's gonna make things more efficient. So I'm loving that. Micron's up. Now this is the semis. Look at this: 5.79. ARM semi 5.75. Supermicrocomputers 5.51. Timeline Semiconductors. Cloudflare. Oh wait, maybe that's Arista. Uh, ON obviously getting some love. Western Digital hard drives 4.23. Starbucks missed earnings, right? Now that's something I want to talk about in a second. I'll get back to that. Norwegian Cruise Lines, Marvel, Semi, AMAT, Applied Materials Server, LRCX. That's a semi for Solar's up. MasterCard's up. T-Mobile, Affirm. I mean, these are two percenters. Alcoa, Mara. I mean, the list goes on and on. Boy, boy, boy. 2%, 2%, 2%. Okay, and I'm just going up with the big leaders here. Let's see if there's laggards today. Humana. You see what I'm talking about? There it is. Humana, I saw they beat on EPS and revenue, but there's something going on here. Okay, that's why other healthcare is down. All right, I believe that is Marriott. They might have reported earnings. Humana, let's see if it's here. Why this stock's moving? Humana's new CEO warned. There it is. Where it is. Warns of challenging. Let's see what this says here. I'm just going to read it here. It says warns of challenging environment. There, that's all you need to hear. That's all you need to hear. Warns of challenging environment. Okay. You got Marriott. You got CVS. That's why that's down. CVS. Okay. Sympathy. I want to say that Stryker. That's also healthcare. Hilton. So there's something going like Hilton. I don't know. Marriott might have reported earnings. Like I said, I got to see Skyworks, Charter Communications. Those are the laggards. There's not many, but there's always some. Moving on to top sector and moving on to sectors. All right, sectors, sectors, sectors. Here we go. Semiconductors is risk on. Oh, now, as I'm speaking, the market is heading above 55.30. It almost crossed. It's up to 55.35 now. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. I'm excited today. Crazy, right, Chief? I mean, this is nuts. We're gapping up today. We're gapping up over the key level that I said is the bull bear line. Because you know what happened? AMD kickstarted AI to go like this. This ain't over. You better invest. That's what basically is happening right now. All right, take these dips and buy them. That's what it was. Okay? I don't know if it's sustainable. I'm just saying that's what's happening. Now, I'm really amped up. XLK up 2.1%. XLU's up 1.24%. My lord, this is an all out. All out. This is all out. Crazy. XLI Industrials up 1.15%. Energy up 1.1%. I mean, everything's flying here. Financials up 0.59. Communications. Basic materials. Now look, staples is flat. That's understandable. Real estate is flat. That's understandable. And healthcare is flat, but some of the notable ones are down. Okay. Now, I'm all amped up. I'm all amped up today. I just can't. This market is insanity. Insanity. Before FOMC, before non-farm payrolls, all you needed was little AMD, and I think her name is Sue. Forget her name. Chief knows it. I'm just forgetting it right now. I don't want to do her misjustice here. Yeah, I forget. All right, let's get over to our economic calendar. All right. Now, ADP employment change came in at 815. Let's see here what they expected. Consensus is 150. Okay. That's why we got the extra push. Okay. So we missed the jobs here. That is bullish. That means a cut. All right. That's why that pushed up a little bit. 830, we got some, I don't really think employment cost. I'm not sure if this really moved market, really. Now, 9:45 Chicago PMI, and then 10 at pending home sales. So I'm probably staying away till after 10 o'clock. Now, today you also have crude inventory. It's just a huge day. Crude's flying and it has inventories. Okay. Then you got Fed FOMC at 2 and then followed by the Fed press conference at 2:30. So just a slew of data. The market's nuts. This is insane. You got geopolitical risk with crude. That's going to shove gold up a little bit too. Bank of Japan intervent. It's just so many things going on. It's crazy. Microsoft tanks. Then AMD brings AMD brings the market back up. Oh my God, that's insane. It's insanity. It's insanity. All right, now you guys, you are going to go through my process of a little bit of news here. So now, if you don't know about it, Toss has this nice little use the news thing, which I love. So we're gonna go right to that now. Actually, before we do that, let's go here and we'll get a little snapshot. Here we go. There we go. We'll look at this, why some things are going on here, okay? So Microsoft fell 3.5 at their software giant, disappointed with its fourth quarter update, indicating it would spend more on artificial intelligence, right? AMD stock rose 8.5. The chipmaker increased its 2024 forecast for artificial intelligence chip sales by 500 million. Said supplies would remain tight through 25. All right, Nvidia stock rose 6.5, boosted by AMD's results. Now, this is what I want to talk about. Starbucks stock rose 3.4 after the coffee chain met expectations for quarterly profit, even as its global sales declined on persistent weakness in consumer spending. Right. This is what I want to talk about. Okay. And I always like to dig into stuff. Right. So I want to explain something. I own Johnson and Johnson. They missed earnings, and its stock exploded after earnings miss. I own PepsiCo. They missed, and the stock exploded after earnings. I own McDonald's. McDonald's missed earnings. They had poor sales, and the stock went up after bad earnings. Starbucks, same thing. Now, here's a couple of things that I want to say about that. Is now obviously the consumer is not spending enough, but those stocks have tumbled, right? So it's either I'm gonna tell you right now what I think the combination is. I think possibly this is priced in, and up until earnings, there's a blackout window for stock buybacks. Okay. After earnings, a company can then do their buyback repurchasing. That's what I believe has happened. They're blackout. They're not allowed to do it. That would be illegal before earnings. After earnings, they can do their repurchasing because they have missed earnings and the stocks rose. Okay? I'm just noticing that trend. Is it sustainable? I don't know. But that's what's going on. All right. Moving on. I just want to talk about that. All right. Moving on. T-Mobile rose 2%, 2.7%. Pinterest took a dump, 10%. Humana, this is what we wanted to look about. Stock fell 8.8 after the health insurer said its profits fell, even with strength in its government-backed Medicare Advantage insurance business for older adults. GE Healthcare stock fell 0.9. All right, that's all I want to talk about there. All right, let's go over to upgrades and downgrades today. Okay, let's do it. Last day of the month. So even at the last day of the month, which tricky business happens at the last day of the month too. Um, let's look at upgrades. I'm only going to mention stocks of importance. Edwards Life Sciences, upgrade it. Gap, upgrade it. Lockheed Martin, upgrade it. LegalZoom, upgrade it. PayPal, upgrade it. Raytheon, upgrade it. Stellantis, upgrade it. Upstart, upgrade it. Those are your upgrades today. Downgrades. We got Charter Communications. Oh my God, that means the Nasdaq is moving up. I just got an alert. Nasdaq's in supply. Let's see here. These are downgrades, right? Yeah, downgrades. Look, McDonald's downgrade from 285 to 280, right? I'm telling you, because of the weak consumer. It's not even down that much. Okay. NEP, NextEra Energy Partners, downgraded. Who else? That's really all there. All right, let's look at some price target changes here. All right, we'll start with the raises. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. EA Sports target raised to 150. JetBlue target raised. Microsoft target raised to 515 from 500. Okay. Starbucks target raised from to 80. Skyworks target raised. All right, that's about all there. All right, now we go to targets lowered. AMD, that's interesting. Target lowered from 200 to 170. That's pretty interesting. Um, Beyond, let's see, that target lowered. Denny's, wow, target lowered. Let's see here. Mondelez International, target lowered. Microsoft, target lowered from to 520 to 500. Pinterest, bunch of target lowers, and that's it. Okay, that's all I really want to probably talk about there. I'm going to go to one other thing here that I like to go to. And nope, there's no news there. Okay, now one other thing I was going to show you is this. I love this little tool on Thinkorswim. Now we can just see if there's any other ones here. Let's go to Analyst Rate Exchange. AMD, we already know it about. There's the Arista. Arista Networks, why are they moving? Price target raised. Okay, so you get your answers here. Upstart, we already know about that. ON. All right, let's see. Let's look at these are analyst ratings change. So let's see the losers here. Pinterest, Microsoft. All right, I just go through these quickly. Downgrades, let's look what's moving. Like I said, if it's something I really have to see here. Nothing here to look at. Initiate coverage, ON. Now ON. Let's see here. Raymond James initiates on holding at outperform rating with a 46 price target. All right, that's why that's moving. Like I said, I only look at stocks that I really care about. Upgrades. Let's look at this. Upstart, we got PayPal, we already talked about. All right, price target only. AMD, Starbucks, For Solar. Okay, PayPal, Merck. Let's look at the losers here. Pinterest, Microsoft. See, this is a trend here. McDonald's, all right. Market chatter. Let's go here. CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike's getting destroyed with Delta and that lawsuit with Delta. Whew. Okay. And then we got earnings here. Don't know who that is. Let's see here. Earnings, HSBC, probably beat. MasterCard had earnings. Looks like up 2.85. That's going to shove Visa up, even though Visa had bad earnings. Boeing, I said report it. Let's see who's negative on earnings. Humana, we already talked about. Marriott. All right. And we go with, we can also do it, buybacks. Nope, nothing here. Okay. So that you did that with me. I do that all. I comb through all that in the morning. I didn't get a chance to do that today, so you did it with me. Let's go to the juice real quick. See what the juice got something for us. Not seeing much here. Oh, and at the FOMC, they're expecting no change today. Okay. All right. I think we can move on to daily charts. Let's go there. Let's do it. Boom. Boom. All right. So where did we come yesterday? Right to this basically trend line and right to last week's lows pretty much. For last week's lows, it's called 538. Okay, so that's where we bounced yesterday. Okay. Now there was a little baby range that I thought we'd hold, but we didn't. and we went down to this lows of this candle here. Okay, closed up here. Where are we at now? I can't even believe this. 548.30. 548.30. We are gapping up. We are right here. Now look, downtrend line right here also lines up to what? 548. 548 is basically 55.30 in the ES futures. Okay, think of those as the same in this downtrend line. So this is not anything out of the woods yet. Basically, this is what the market did. We're stayed in this range, and now we're up here. So look, we're at this place that we've been every day. Look, every day. We were here. We were here yesterday. Now we're here again. Okay? So in this grand scheme of stuff, even though we came down to here, now we're gapping up, we're still where we've been the last 4 days. Okay? We're not here. We're here. Okay? We're actually here. But like still, it's the same area. Let's look at the live look at the futures. All right? Boom. Look at that. Look at that recovery. Wham. Right up though. Look. All that resistance. Where are we? 55.30. That area. 55.30. Still pushing. Now this is something, boy. Now what I want to explain to you is one thing. When you go all the way down like that, okay, and you don't go farther, and you're kind of in balance here, right, in the futures, and you go all the way back, you go all the way back to the other side of balance. Okay, now quick tip, I'll show you here. Whenever you have a range, let's get out of that. Let's do that again. I'd say this is our range, which it is. All right, I want to tell you guys balance rules. Okay, now I'm going to put this little guy here. So imbalance rules, this is our range. Okay, a measured move would mean if we break out today, this is what you do. This is how you do a measured move. You take that range and you double it from the range before, and that gives you where we could land. 56.40 in futures. That's just a little tip. Same thing to the downside. Okay, but now that we just came from the bottom and we're going to the top, now we're getting some selling. You can see there's a wick there. So on to the downside, let's see where we go. We go down to about 53.28. Look, around this last month's lows. Say around 5300, 5310. Okay, that's called a measured move. It's a little tip. All right, let's go to the Qs. We're getting some wick now, which is expected. This is expected. Here's the Qs. Where did we go? Last week's lows, 100-day moving average, found support. There's the wick. Okay, where are we? This is that key resistance level, 468 in the Qs, right? Where are we now? 466. We are right here. We're not gapping up anymore. We are right here at yesterday's open. So 468 still needs to be broken. We have a downtrend line here. We're still underneath the 50. Okay, let's look at the live look in futures. Big buying here. And look, this is last month's lows in futures. That was supportive yesterday. Now look at this in the futures. You got a level of 193.73. That's resistance, right? Coming up to the 9 EMA daily. We haven't touched that in a while. And this is setting up, okay, for big FOMC. We're still in balance. We're still in balance. Big move up, but in the grand scheme, we're not breaking out. Okay, we're stuck back in balance. All right. All right. So that's how that futures are looking. Now, the 10-year yield and all that stuff is not going to be that much a consequence right now. Okay. But we'll look at it, obviously. Now, let's go to that 10-year yield. Like I said, should be flat. I'd be surprised if it's really, oh, well, I'm a little wrong there. The 30-year bonds are being a little more bought now. It's broken this level, 4.14. this is bullish before FOMC. That's very interesting. Yields are falling. I said this level had to break. It just broke. Interesting. Okay, this is your triple-headed monster. Okay, let's look at the dollar, because the dollar I saw was down before. Look at that. All right. That might have been the Bank of Japan intervention. Now look, it broke out of this range and failed. It's doing the opposite of the equities. Okay, equities went down and went up. The dollar went up and failed to break out, and now it's going back to last month's lows. Now the dollar down and rates down and the VIX down equals market up. It's a little shocking because it's before FOMC, but that's what's going on. Now, if we want to look at the dollar and you really want to gauge what really is going on, you have to go against the currencies that go against the dollar in the basket of currencies that make up the dollar. They all go versus the dollar. So the largest one is the euro. So the euro must be going up because it's inverse. And it is. Okay. Now, not a lot. What I'm going to probably see here is the Bank of Japan intervention. And if you go to the yen, this should be up. There it is. There it is. The yen is skyrocketing. Now, to let you guys know, 57.6% of the dollar, the Dixie, is euro. Is euro. I believe only 13% is the yen. But this move in the yen is very significant. Is very, very significant. Okay? Just look up Bank of Japan, what they did. Okay? Very, very interesting. Usually the euro is the one, but the yen right now, wow, it's causing weakness in the dollar. Okay? Let's go to the VIX. Here's the VIX. We are still at 16.49, folks. What does that mean? Volatility. This is 30 days out of fear. There's a little fear in this market, and it's an implied 1% move in the S&P 500 today. Okay, and we've been experiencing very big moves. Okay, so that's checking out. That is checking out. All right. Now, let's move on to the main event. We're going to go to the market profile and the volume profile. Give me 1 second while I pull those up for you guys. 1 second. All right. I'll pull that up for you guys in a second. Taking down some other windows. All right. Now, we're going to get into this structure here. Okay. Wild, wild markets. Wild, wild. Okay. Let's push this up a little bit. Just a little bit. Wow, this market just rose up more. Insanity. Insanity. Okay. Unbelievable. Remember, this is a monster level here, right here. This is my composite high volume node, this blue box. And I said if we find acceptance over this today, and we do this, wow. Wow. All right. This market is crazy. All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into our profile, weekly profile. Now we got excess here, right? Then we got our value area. 70% of the trade is here. Then we got our excess, a lot from yesterday, right here. So it's a bell curve. Most traded price of the week, 55.04. Call it 55.05 is right here. Okay. Price is above 55.30. We're gapping up. Okay. In futures, gaps are not from the close or from the highs. Okay. In futures, you don't count the close. Close, well, from yesterday's here, but in futures, the gap is here at the highs. Okay. In equity, some people call the gap up here as the close, yesterday's close. Okay. So, We just got single prints here. All right, but let's talk about yesterday. What I said. Just want to show you guys why yesterday happened. Okay? When you couldn't open up and you couldn't push above 55.30, you came down here to the most traded price. Once you came down here, you see single prints accelerated that selling, which is understandable. You came down to this low, and then you blew that out. And then you came down to this low, and you went down farther. And then you found support at these lows. Okay, and we closed here. Well, then the market opened here, only has this much short activity to this much long activity. It's pretty much 100% net long in the overnight. Now, what did this do? Okay, I'm going to explain something again, a little tip. Whenever the sellers go down to the bottom of balance, okay, and they can't go farther, you're going to go back to the other side of balance. And now, like I said, that measure move, we could really go higher, right? It's just surprising because we have FOMC coming. I know everybody expects nothing to happen today. However, one other thing I want to say is think about this. Sellers got paid all day and closed here, right? They closed here. Let's think about psychologically. Let's say you're in and you shorted any stock yesterday, one Mag 7, and you're like, yes, closed on the lows. I'm going to hold that position. Okay. Now you're waking up and the markets are up, gapping up. Okay. What this did is when this market opens, it removed sellers from this market. Okay. And what I'm thinking that might happen, we might even do this, and as soon as we gap fill, people who were short are going to like, I'm getting out now. And that might make us go up. Okay. Always got to think about psychology of people's emotions. Okay. So we got single prints from yesterday. That's emotional selling. Emotional selling. Okay. Got single prints all up yesterday. We're above all those. We're actually into single prints from the past. We're in single prints right now and a gap. We're almost into this gap here. There's a big gap from here to here. That if that gets filled today, wow. So it's still going higher. That is nuts. That is not. I still can't believe the 10-year yields dropped and the dollar has dropped with the yen and all that. This is a crazy day. It's exciting. All right, I'm a little amped up today. Okay, so let's look at this. Number one thing I'm going to talk about: gap rules. Here's the gap fill. 53.27 yesterday's highs, and the market's still pushing up as I'm speaking. All right. Here's the gap fill. Now, you've been following me for a while. I'm going to say the gap rules. I'm going to say it once for the ES. Okay, once for the ES. Here's how we play this. Okay, number one, you can gap and go. That is the most bullish. Monthly VWAP for July is at 55.82. That means sellers have been in control for this month. Okay, sellers have been in control. That is the most bullish. Number one, most bullish. Number two, most bullish is you pull back, you fail to fill the gap, and you take off. Number three, you fill the gap and you take off. And what's beautiful about what I'm saying, it lines up right with 55.30. Beautiful. Okay. Now, the third is not bullish, is if we do this. We come up and we go back under 55.30 and you go back into yesterday's range. That, my friends, is not bullish. That is a bear sign. Okay? And now we talk about balance rules. Think about it. Shorts, cover, we move back up a balance. If we go back this way, guess what's going to happen? We're going to go all the way back to here. And then the big move can happen in that measured move like I talked about. So this is this is big for the market to hold 55.30. If it can't and the market gets weak, oh boy. Whew, Very exciting. Very exciting. Okay. Now, so there's not a lot of nuance in this. Okay. All you worry about is 55.30 all the way down to 54.33, which is those balance lows. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. It's really what we're talking about here. I actually had a supply zone here that I could take off now because it's been broken. Okay. Now, let's get into scenarios. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Oh, by the way, this is market profile and volume profile. I'm just excited. I'm forgetting to throw up some of these lower thirds here. This is your futures market with volume profile and market profile. Okay. Now, let's get right into scenarios here. ES scenarios. Let's do it. We're going with the bull. All right. What do we care about? 55.30. This is so beautiful. 55.30 and the gap fill. This is what bulls need to defend. Very simple. Very, very simple. Okay. Now, let's look at what's on the chart here. If you look to the left, this day right here, it has single prints. Those are selling single prints. Okay. We are inside those single prints right now. So if the market pulls back here, okay, and we push up, there's not resistance here. There should not be. There should not be resistance. Now, there's a caveat to that into the bearish scenario, and I'll get to that later. So what I would like to see, I am not a gap and go guy. I don't like that. I don't like the risk to reward. I don't like it. So what I would like to see, maybe we clean these singles, hit the top, bottom of this gap. There's a gap from here to here, folks. That's a gap, right? Very important. That's a gap. So that gap's up there. So, but I want to say maybe we pull back from this gap, and there's supply zone right here as well. Okay, we pull back, and to me, either you do one or two things. You come into this area, and you do higher low, higher low. Well, then I want to get long, and I'm gonna look to see if we can fill this gap. Where does that gap end? Around 55.92. Okay, you do have monthly VWAP here, 55.82. That could be a little resistant. You got two supply zones, but there's a gap. Okay, there's a gap. This is what I'm looking for. Now, one could happen too is you could fill the gap at 53.27, and then higher low also could take you up there. All right, that's kind of what I only like. Okay, in this market for longs. Now, let's go to shorts. Here we go. So we're at the top of the range here. Now, we're 100% net long right now. Okay. And again, 55.30, that's what it's all about in the gap fill. Okay. Now, if I am thinking bearish, I don't believe this. I think data's coming out and the market can't get too ahead of itself. Okay. We might see this push up, clean those singles, hit this supply into the gap. Then you get a little rejection here. You got lower high, lower high. You go back to 55.30 and try to fill this gap. That's one. The other thing I talked about before is these single prints from the past, if they act as resistance, that is very bearish. So if we come up and can't clean those singles and do this, that is bearish. Now, you have to find acceptance under 55.30. So you need to do this, and there's single prints from yesterday, okay? Now, another thing I want to mention, there's a lot of stuff I'm mentioning here, okay? This is the most, 55.24 is the most traded price of the overnight around right here. That's a high volume node. If you come through that, because these are longs, this can cause a cascading effect. Okay, so let me clean it up. Here's what the the bulls need to defend, right? But like I said, if we come up and fail, lower high, you want to see 55.30 be taken out. Now here's the most traded price of the overnight. There's a longs there. If you come through that and you hold under 55.30, we could find ourselves cleaning these singles here and coming down to the most traded price of 55.04, say 55.05, and maybe you get a bounce and we wait for FOMC. If it gets nuts, if you break the most traded price of the week, there's single prints here, and hold this, and this happens kind of early, I don't know if this is probable, but you're going to start moving back. Here's the most traded price of yesterday to down to the bottom of the balance. Okay, those are the scenarios. Okay, I don't like trading on FOMC. It's just there's not a lot of edge in for me unless I see something that's like undeniable. So like I said, I've seen muted moves before FOMC, and we've seen moves that like didn't matter. So I don't know what this market. It's nuts, but that's all I'm looking at. Okay, that's all I'm looking at. All right, so let's move over to the Nasdaq. Like I said, I'm a little longer winded today, maybe. Hopefully that's okay with everybody. Now look at the Nasdaq. All right, let's look at this. It broke this supply zone right there. So I got to get rid of that now. Let's get rid of that supply. We're in this supply zone now. Okay. Bunch of demand zones. Whew. Okay. This is so crazy. Now the difference is ES is past 55.30, but Nasdaq's not past its resistance of 193.90. So it's still relatively weaker as structure wise, in structure. Okay, because it's up 2.15%, and the Qs and the SPY is up 2.26, but structurally it's not as strong. Okay, remember that what I'm saying. All right, so we don't have to talk about this. We talked about it in the Qs. What happened? There's a bunch of single prints too. I didn't mention that in the overnight session. Bunch of emotional buying here, emotional buying. All right, and single prints from yesterday. That's what I'm saying. This could be very violent. Let's look at the structure. Okay. Now this profile, okay, this profile in particular has a bullish imbalance. Okay. If this is a completed profile, what you expect to see is you expect to see a profile that looks like that bell curve. I'd expect to see this, right? So this means that there's potential for upside move, right? Probability wise. So we're gapping up smaller in the Nasdaq, but we are. Here's the gap fill right there, and price is here. Okay, price is here. We're in supply zone. Okay, so this has a little more bullish skew to it. Okay. Now let's look at some things from our past. So I'm going to bring this chart down a little bit. Okay. The gap is way up here. Let's see where that gap is. Let's see, there's the bottom of the gap. Yeah, it's not even in your picture. I'm going to have to make this a little smaller. I hate to make it smaller, but I want to make you guys see the structure that's above us here. Let me see if you see that. Okay. You can see that now. Okay. So, price is here. Our level to look at is 193.77 to 193.90. This is our breakout point right at the end of that supply zone. Okay. Sellers have to defend this area. Okay. What do we have above us? We have single prints. Now look at this day. This was a day where we sold off and you created single prints here. Those are susceptible to get cleaned if we go up here. And when they get cleaned, they happen to fall into a big gap. Here's the gap right there. And if you can clean those singles, you could definitely maybe clean a gap. Now that would be a monster moves, but you have to talk about the structure above us. Okay? You have to talk about it. Okay. Now that we got that, so let's talk about same thing, right? So this is our range right here. And again, if you do one of these and do one of these, you're going to go back to the bottom of balance. Okay? It's not as balancy as the ES, but the same thing. Okay? There's not a lot of nuance here. It's not a lot of me going weak low, weak high. I mean, I told you there was a resistance here. Okay, so let's just get right into it. That's the gap fill. Okay, so we're going to talk about bull first. Okay, so there's single prints here from yesterday and from the overnight right here. Happens to almost be the 24-hour most traded price is 193. You can see it right here, right here. Okay, so this area right here is a defense for the bulls. Now, what I would like to see is it break this supply, get rid of it, get rid of that supply zone, and then come back, fill that gap, and take off. Your first thing would be to see if you can clean these single prints. Right up here, that level would be 196.55. Clean the single prints. That's the start of the gap. It's the bottom of the gap. Okay? I don't know if you go to the top of that gap, which is 199. But that would be something. Okay? If you could just go whoop right up to the top of that gap, fill the gap. That would be a monster move. And honestly, it's probably all I'm interested in here. If you dip into these levels here, okay, now let's just show you this. Here's the most traded price of the overnight. These are longs. So if you come in and you come back through here and you go like this through them, we're going to wait for FOMC somewhere down here, okay? So let's talk about the short while we're talking about that. So, sellers, you need to defend this supply zone right here. Okay, so now again, this could be a bull trap. So we can come up here, go like this, but if we get higher, lower high, fill the gap. I expect to maybe bounce a little bit, but then if we get rolling and this market's weak and people start taking profits, you are going to go straight through these single prints. Now you have to deal with the most traded price of the overnight. If you rip through that in this demand zone right here, you are going at least back to the most traded price of the week, which is around 191.37. If you lose that, there's single prints here. You cut through those, we can go all the way back to yesterday's most traded price or yesterday's lows. Now, like I said, I think probability-wise, if we fall, we get caught up right here and we bounce in here for FOMC. But you have to put this in the cards, right? You have to put it in the cards. All right. I think that's it. Not going to have time for the bonus today. I was going to talk about Banker VWAPs, but I could do that another day. Hope everybody understands this plan. Makes sense. It's very simple. Again, when the market opens, it's a whole nother deal to look at. Market internals, gamma exposure levels. So we have to see. This is pretty nuts. Okay. Remember, we just removed sellers from the market. Gone. And it strengthens the market. Okay. Strengthens it. So this is pretty crazy. All right. This is pretty nuts. All right. So everybody have a great day. All right. And of course, as always, if you appreciated this, please subscribe if you haven't already and set an alert. Of course, if you enjoyed the content, please give me a big thumbs up or a like. Smash that like button. That'd be much Appreciate it. And you can follow me on X at Gonzo719. And always check out my YouTube. I've done a lot of shorts of late of trades that I've made and why I take them. You can get a good look at what's my criteria that I like to see, what puts me in a trade. Okay, because there's one thing to have the plan and another thing to execute the plan, but you need to have criteria that you like to see confluence to make you say, I'm entering. Okay, so please check them out. Check out my channel, check out my shorts. All right, and that's about it. All right, everybody. Remember, end of the month too. End of the month too. So be careful around 3:30, 3:50 today. What I don't know what the hell is gonna happen, but sometimes end of the month does something crazy. All right, so good luck everybody today. Stay patient, stay green, and I'll see you tomorrow.